Hello, good people. Hey, this is Donna Meals. That's who I am, and that's what I do. I'm gonna start off today. Actually, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about emotional eating, and I mean that's a very broad topic. But I just really want to kind of zero in about how our subconscious rules us. I talk about this all the time, the critter brain, the lizard brain, blah, blah, blah. First, okay, so we're here to talk about food gamification. This is Donna Meals with Empowered Meals. And I'm asking all you guys to go check me out on YouTube. That's where these videos are kind of coming through. But if you haven't, please subscribe and give me a like or two. I'm drowning. I need momentum. If y'all would do that, that would be really awesome. I'm going to go through my meme of the day before I forget it. And this is actually from Angelina Jolie. It says, if you don't get out of the box you've been raised in, you won't understand how much bigger the world is. And so true. You know, it's once we venture out there and check some other things out, you know, I don't know, my whole world was opened up the first time I went to Europe when I was in college. I did a little month-long thing afterwards, and it was just so cool to see how things are the same but they're different, and it gives you such a perspective on all the other things that are out there when you go and do some traveling. But I think this also just really relates to just being aware that there are different ways to do everything, and not necessarily the one that you've been raised in or brought up in is really right for you. That's kind of what I've found out when, you know, with my kids, when I swooped over to, you know, eating better, and they rebelled. But I am seeing the fruits of that. You know, I jumped out of my box big time. Well, I was forced to, and that's why a lot of us, that's why we end up trying to adapt new habits, is when we're forced to, because whatever's going on now and working. And so that kind of leads into the challenge that I'm going to start on Monday. And it's just going to be early in the morning, you know, wake up and you can check out what I had posted. I'll probably just post it late the night before or whatever. I'm not really sure, but it's going to be in the morning, probably by 7 a.m. You'll be able to just get a little 5-minute, 10-minute thing. I know me, it's going to be 10 minutes, but where I try and just influx a concept for the day, a health hack, a life hack, a little bit kind of like mini versions of what I've been doing here, but super focused to try and get you into a place where, okay, today we're going to implement some breathing, or today we're going to make a conscious effort to drink water, and just simple things. A lot of it is the same stuff that I've covered, but this would be more of like an organized, hey, in 2 weeks we're gonna just make improvements and strive, you know, to do something for ourselves and make our eating thing, our living thing better. Got my life hat, my life coach, my health coach hats, and I'm gonna put both of those on every day and try and just give you guys something that's interesting to just try and actually just improve things. Sometimes the coordinated effort of thinking about something in a physical sense and then also relating it to the emotional sense, which is what we're getting into here today, it just brings a better understanding, you know, inside your world, outside your world. So anyway, so let me progress on to my topic today. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet, and just actually post some things for thought in there. We tend to overeat or not even sometimes realize, for a various number of reasons. And a lot of them obviously can be, brought back and tied into the emotional thing. Sometimes we eat because we're stressed. Sometimes we don't eat because you're stressed, People have different reactions to that. A lot of that does revolve around what our upbringing was. If we have specific instances of anxiety or continued anxiety over a specific outcome that's not kind of working itself out, then sometimes we will self-medicate with whatever, food or cigarettes or drugs, alcohol, any of that. When it comes down to the food thing, a lot of us have what we could consider a food addiction, because a lot of times we're not in control. It's not our thought process. Oh, hey, I need to eat. I'm hungry. Sometimes we get internal signals that are coming not from our conscious knowledge. Hey, it's 12 o'clock. We need to eat, but from our subconscious. I have denoted this as the lizard brain, as the critter brain. It's actually, we have, our back stem, we have an area of our mind, in our brain, that is designed through evolution, very similar to a lizard brain. And that's kind of where it got the name, in some senses. But it's basically our system that has been designed to keep us safe and to keep us alive. And I've mentioned this before. It's not interested in you being thin or healthy or happy. It's alive and safe. So if your subconscious sees something that's going on in your world that's creating anxiety, your subconscious says, oh, we don't feel good. We're really upset about this. So let's try and maybe see what we can do. Let's talk ourselves into self-medicating. Okay. Food is one of those avenues. So let's say you're self-medicating with some macaroni and cheese. Why do you think they call it comfort food? Obviously, I can make a killer macaroni and cheese substituted with all the stuff that I'm actually allowed to eat. But I have to go through a lot to do that. My comfort would come a lot easier if I was stressed or had anxiety. If I could just pick out, a box of Kraft, So a lot of times we don't actually reach for the version of something, of that comfort food or what have you, that's easiest. And that's how we get into that trap too of being overweight and, all that stuff. We tend to go with what's easiest, especially if we are in a state of anxiety. But sometimes it's just, if you just recognize that. I know for myself, a lot of times, and this isn't just necessarily relating to emotion, but there's a lot of times where I tend to be dehydrated. I really have to force myself to drink water. And what I've noticed in the past, ever since I learned that this was kind of something out there, was sometimes, I'm thinking, oh, I'm hungry. Okay, I'm just, I'm busy doing something. I reach and get a snack or whatever. And I realize, you know what, I'm really thirsty. And sometimes you'll reach for something to eat when you're actually thirsty. Huge. That's a huge thing if you just employ that little trick, that little tactic. A lot of times you can talk yourself out of eating something. Just drink a big glass of water, and then you'll know in 15 or 20 minutes that either that little annoying pang's coming back, or you're just like, oh, that's all I needed. So these are just little foods for thought kind of things. We use a host of rationalizations You know, well, you know, I'm going to have this chocolate cake because I was really good and I haven't had anything like that in so long. And, you know, naturally our brain is going to do that. And that is just part of how our makeup, you know, works. But if you thought about it, you can consciously subvert those rationalizations that are subconscious with conscious ones, you know, where, for instance, I was just speaking of it, you know, oh, you know, my subconscious is telling me I'm hungry. Well, consciously, I'm making a point to say, hey, maybe I'm just thirsty, or, you know, hey, maybe I'm just bored here, and, or I'm bored because I'm not really focused on something. I know we all have so much stuff that we can focus on, that we're probably, you know, they're on our to-do list that we're just kind of gaffing off. And I've realized that for myself too, where I said, you know, I'm just kind of screwing around here. I've been on my phone, I've been doing this, and I'm not really getting anything done. What I notice is if I'm zeroed in on something and I'm focused, I'm not even listening to I'm hungry, this, that, or whatever. So it's a distraction sometimes. Now, you know, I can be working really hard and then I start feeling that, oh, you know what, I need to eat something. Okay, cool. You know, you're probably at like a 2 on the scale of 1 to 10 on the hunger scale. So you just start thinking it out, and, you know, for me, I reach for my whatever's in my bento box that I made earlier in the morning. And that's basically just a, you know, a group of stuff that I got together, that I put together each morning that you know, it has a little bit of everything. So that way I have control. So that's going to be one of our, I'm probably going to do the bento box thing and just kind of go through it, on one of our sessions, one of the 14-day. So I'm calling this the Qualify Your Food Challenge. But a lot of it's going to be about life too. You know, I'm not kidding about that emotional thing. And, it's not so much as just that we'll eat, you know, that to subconsciously save ourselves or whatever. That is some serious business. I had a client one time where she had a breakthrough. She had been divorced and was, you know, staring down the, oh crap, what do I do now thing. It's been a number of years. I'm going to run out of alimony, you know, or, you know, what do I do? What do I do? She was in a lot of uncertainty with a lot of the areas of her life, and it caused her to actually, the physician had put her on some antidepressants, which, hey, in some instances, they're exactly what the person needs. But when you continue down the road where you're, you know, relying on that for years and years, that's not good. You know, you're just throwing something at the symptom. Sorry, my little neurology thing. You're just throwing something at the symptom rather than getting to the root of it and just solving it and being done with it. So what my client came to realize was she had put on like 45, 60, sometimes pounds around herself. And she realized, and this was at a time where she was kind of barricaded herself in the house, a lot of miscellaneous stuff that had to be dealt with. I'm not saying hoarding or, no, nothing like that. She just had a lot of stuff, but she couldn't like bring herself to deal with, okay, I gotta straighten up this pile, or I gotta pay those, or I gotta do this, whatever. And it was difficult. And you know, I get it. When you're emotionally shut down, a lot of your desire and momentum in other parts of your life are too. But she had put on all this weight, and it was, you know, through our sessions, she had come to understand that this weight was her protective coating. So because then she could use that as the excuse, oh, I'm just too heavy. I don't want to go out there and date again. I couldn't get a guy. Not true. Not true in a million years. You know, beautiful gal. Awesome gal. But she allowed that to be her reason why because she was afraid to go jump out there again and, you know, meet someone new, etc. And believe me, I've been down that road and I do understand it. She also was barricading herself. She was barricading herself in her own body, okay? And she was also barricading herself in her apartment, you know? And that was a huge breakthrough that, you know, the light bulb went on and she says, oh, you know, I'm doing this to myself. My subconscious is doing this to myself because it's trying to save me. Its idea of saving you and yours, I guarantee you, are two different things. But anyway, these are the breakthroughs that people come to recognize when they not only figure out what's going on with their eating, what's wrong with their eating, but it's when they figure out what's wrong with their thinking, or their subconscious brain's thinking, or, you know, the clash between the two. And so those are the things that I usually try and cover with people, or help them uncover, you know, these lurking little landmines that are in their psyche that they didn't realize were there, you know, that caused them to do things. So anyway, this basically, what I've just been talking about is just an introduction for those of you that, you know, maybe just plant a seed and say, hey, think about that the next time you're hungry. You know, go through that little process and say, am I hungry? Am I bored? You know, is there a reason why I'm doing this? And then you can use your prefrontal cortex to override. You're in the driver's seat. That's why they call it empowered meals, because you got to empower yourself and be in the driver's seat. You're in charge, so take charge. Learn all of these things. You know, listen, get down there in the deal with me, and try and understand how these apply to you, what mistakes you've made, what changes you can make that will reverse those issues. So anyway, that's it for me today. Love you all. Peace out. And, you know, we're working towards the weekend. Woohoo!